Today I'm going to be going through a case study for one of my clients that we have right now. They run Facebook ads, and we're implementing AI to really be the first point of contact, which will go, qualify them, book them into appointments, and follow up with them all on autopilot. So wanted to start with just this statistic, which is from the Harvard Business Review and MIT, which shows that companies that are responding within an hour are actually 7 times more likely to qualify leads, but the average business takes around 42 hours to respond. And what's even crazier is that 78% of these sales, they go to whoever responds first. And so today, really, I just wanted to show you our system that we're using that's going to contact them, qualify them, book the appointments, and follow up with them all within 60 seconds. And so before we dive into the exact system, I just wanted to talk a bit about who I am and why I'm qualified to be sharing this with you. So my name is Kevin Hogan. I'm the founder of Target Dial AI, which is a voice AI agency that we launched just this past year in January. And really, my AI journey didn't start there. I actually spent years prior working in the world of big data and operations. So I actually first started as a cost engineer working for this company called Qit. It's the largest construction engineering firm in North America. And I just analyzed massive data sets and turned them into actionable dashboards like the one that you see right here for C-suite executives. From there, I moved over to Canadian National Railway. So this is the largest railway in North America. It's connected to all 3 coasts. And that's where I managed $50 million worth of assets for the fleet engineering team. And so all of this to say is that in both of these jobs, it was always pushed on us the importance of data. And one of the things that's really cool about voice AI is that you have the ability to take conversations and turn it into data to improve your systems and the overall performance of your business. And so when ChatGPT came out, as I'm sure a lot of you, I got completely hooked on AI, and I went down this rabbit hole of no-code automations. And what really started as a curiosity turned into a passion. And now I run a YouTube channel where we're approaching close to 4,000 subscribers. We have a school community of almost 2,000 members where I teach business owners how they can leverage AI to transform their operations. And I've been featured on one of the main AI channels in the world, which is Liam Otley's, with close to 500,000 subscribers. And so what really drove me to develop this system was that I saw a gap in the market. Right, I started researching lead response statistics, the numbers that we just looked at, and I was pretty shocked. And the truth is, with a lot of these calls that I'm getting on, is that business owners know about AI and they want to use it, but they don't really know how to implement it effectively. And especially when it comes to one of the most critical moments in their sales process, which is that first contact with a hot lead, being able to respond to them instantly. And so the problem is that, average response times in most industries are 24 to 48 hours. And if you've ever ran ad campaigns on whatever platform, you know that a lot of leads actually come in while you're sleeping. And so by the time you have the opportunity to get back to these leads, they've already gone cold and you don't even have a chance to talk to them. And so really the traditional follow-up problem is that manual calling takes a lot of time. Typically, it's inconsistent too, right? The follow-ups are not consistent. You're always asking the same questions, and it's always the same answers that you're providing. And no one really likes to answer unknown numbers anymore. Like I don't personally, and I know a lot of people who don't appreciate this. So the solution that we came up with was it needed to have the ability to instantly contact within 30 seconds. We needed to have smart qualification. So really, AI that could have natural conversation to qualify interests, budgets, and see if they're actually a good fit to work with the potential client. Automated booking, so AI that can schedule appointments directly into your calendar, and then persistent follow-up, so automated sequences that will continue until the prospect responds, and then to integrate all of that information of all of this data that flows directly back into your CRM or your system. And so this is the tech stack that we're using right now, which is Facebook for the ad campaigns, We use Go High Level for the automated follow-up sequences. We use Retell, which is our voice partner right now that we develop all of these systems on. And part of the reason that we're using Retell, along with tools like Make and NoCo and N8N, is that I'm not a coder. I'm not a big fan of coding, and it never really came to me easy. And so when I came across Retell, they really make it simple for any person to create a voice agent without having to know how to code. And same goes for Make, and same goes for N8N. And so that's why I really gravitated towards using these platforms, because you don't need to know any coding, really. And so the clients that we implemented this solution for, they're getting on average 30 to 50 leads a day. Those leads come in through Facebook, and then they push directly to their CRM, which is Zoho. And so a lot of those leads come in after hours, and it's across multiple different time zones. They're servicing all of America. So what they do is they have a platform for wholesalers or real estate agents to buy leads and of interested home sellers. And so what we set up is that as soon as a lead comes into Zoho, we're using make.com, which will essentially create a contact in high level, and then update that contact, adding them to our outbound caller sequence. So you can see right here, this is our outbound AI caller sequence that we have set up in Go High Level right now, where essentially they hit this first path. It'll bring them down here. It'll trigger this webhook, which will then place a call, once again, using make.com, which will hit Retell and then update the call status to pending. And it'll add 1 to the counter of the amount of times that we've called them. Now, if they don't answer, what's going to happen is they'll just come back into this queue. And right now, this is, it'll call them up to 6 times. So we have a 6 call sequence. It'll call them twice per day during business hours. And then if they don't answer after 6, we push all of that information. So this is our post-call analysis. This is our post-call analysis right here. So essentially what's happening is, and this is just part of it, this is like all I could fit on the screen, but really it's, did this person answer or not? If they did answer, it updates Zoho, their CRM, with the call recording, the call transcript, call summary, what all of the custom fields that we are tracking for them. And then we push all of that information to a Google Sheet. And then we do some manipulations to present a visual dashboard to their team. So really what happens is once that call is answered, all of the raw call data that's provided by Retell gets added into a spreadsheet. So stuff like call ID, call cost, what was the disconnection reason? Was the call successful? And then we also have some additional custom fields that are being added at the end, such as call outcome. Was a meeting booked? Was it info only? Was it callback requested? And then from there, we have some calculated fields or calculated columns, which are manipulating the raw data so we can have more useful metrics such as call duration. So we can figure out, what's the average call duration? What's the average talk time? What are the amount of times that we've called them? And then from there, whenever a new call occurs, we run it through our GPT analysis sheet, which is going to look at a few different things. So we have this Call Analyzer Pro monitoring for new entries into this Google Sheet. And we have a Q&A assistant. So this is how we improve the agent over time. It's knowledge base, which is, we have a series of 4 different prompts. First one being, were there any questions that the AI was unable to answer? And if so, it'll output those questions into that spreadsheet. And then we just have a weekly report where we can analyze the questions AI couldn't answer. We pass that to the team and we improve upon the agent over time so it gets smarter and smarter. Then we also have the next action, which is looking at, like, for the sales reps, what is the next action to take? Is it a booked meeting? Is it to follow up? It's just a really quick pulse check and a quick way for them to see how the overall call went. Then we also have script drop-off location. So are there any points in the conversation where, you know, the most amount of calls on average is dropping off? Is it in the intro? Is it during, I don't know, the value proposition? And so with that, we're able to determine how we can improve our script. And then we also have conversion tier, which is looking at how likely that lead is to convert. Are they hot, warm, cold, uninterested? And so then from all of that information that gets put into Google Sheets, we turn it into a dashboard. And really, we're looking at a few different things. So you can see here, total calls that come in. Then we have unique prospects that were contacted. Out of those unique prospects, how many actually picked up the phone? How many were we actually able to reach and have a unique conversation with? And then from there, how many turn into a booking rate? And so right now we're averaging anywhere from 25 to 30% booking rate. And so you can see from the 345 prospects we reached out to, we're just shy in this last week of 90 booked appointments, completely done by AI. And the average cost per appointment is $1.64. And yeah, so it's pretty incredible. And, you know, the main thing that I've noticed with voice AI is that there's a lot of nuances in conversations. And some people just don't prefer speaking to AI. And over time, what's happening is that the voices themselves in, let's say, 11 labs or different providers, they're becoming more and more realistic that humans don't even notice the difference anymore. And they appreciate the ability to have a conversation instantly once they fill out a form for something they're interested in. And so this is, you know, a use case that I wanted to present to everyone today. And I really just wanted to open up the floor to any questions about any of this entire build that we have, and we can dive more into the detail of it.
Kevin, good work. I like it. I got a question for you. For your AI agent, are you using conversation flows or using the single prompt or multi-prompt?
So with this specific agent, we're actually using single prompt. And the reason for that is we've done both. Like, we've done conversation flow. We've done the other one, which is I forget the name of it, but what we noticed was the biggest determining factor in this was not to have too many tool calls, because when you have too many tool calls on a single prompt, it tends to hallucinate.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is that the biggest thing that's going to drive conversions is your system prompt. It's the actual script. Just like a human would use the script when he's on an appointment setting job calling leads, it's the exact same thing for AI. So that's where we've seen the biggest change in the amount of bookings that we're receiving, is by modifying the prompt, aligning it with world sales tactics or top sales tactics from, you know, whatever Claude or GPT can do deep research on, and then return it, and we compile that into our system prompts.
I really want to dig into this because this is what I've been playing around with, is outbound calling with AI. Could you talk a little bit more about how because you said you're training it based on the past calls. How are you getting the data? I know you said you put it up in the Google Sheet. How are you now making it reference back to past calls and how to improve on the future calls?
So right now, that's a manual process. Like, it's not actually AI that's reading through these call transcripts and improving themselves. We still need a human in the loop.
Gotcha.
Especially like with specific questions. I don't know the questions for a specific industry. So we'll present that to the team, and then they'll either say like, hey, this one is worth adding, this one isn't, and then we'll go and implement that by updating the knowledge base.
Excellent. Well, one thing I'm playing around with is, because, you know, different scripts are better than others, giving it more than one option and for it to actually try to A/B test and then say, okay, has the highest probability. Let's trash this, and it'll automatically always lean toward the one that has the most success rate. Trying to figure out how to get it to do without being a manual process.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably do it in high level. So you could just have almost like a randomizer, assign a certain number, either 0 or 1, and that number would dictate which agent would be called. And then from there, you could just analyze the different performance of the agents.
I don't want to monopolize the time, but is this recorded? Because I missed the beginning half.
Yes, this is recorded, and
Excellent.
you can see
Thank
the recording in Retell YouTube channel.
Excellent. But I have tons of questions, but I want other people to chime in. So
Yeah, Tony.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought there was something before me. So I'm just curious. You mentioned about the callback time that you want to do. I don't know if it's within 30 seconds or 60 seconds. Does that mean if you're getting a lead at 2 a.m., somebody's filling it out in their bathroom with the lights turned off, that it's going to call them at 2 a.m.?
Yes, for the initial call, yes. So that first initial call it'll get placed regardless of the time.
And are you seeing stats on pickup calls? Because like sometimes I filled out a form at 2 a.m. and I don't want to actually get a phone call because everyone's sleeping.
Yeah, so I mean, it's mixed. Some people appreciate it, some people don't.
well, Tony, I have some experience with that because I've done the same thing. I've found that if it's filled out at a certain time, it's better to have them reach out in normal hours. Then that's because it seems kind of freaky to get somebody at 2 a.m. when you fill out a form.
Well, that's what I do right now. Is if it's before a certain time or after a certain time, it calls the next business.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Matai.
Yes. So you did a make.com thing where you go Google Sheets, Q&A assistant, next actions, all that stuff. I was wondering if you could go a bit deeper because you said you have like 4 questions that you prompt with GPT to go through. I think that's honestly like one of the biggest golden nuggets that you may have dropped in.
This portion right here.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So what's your question?
Yeah, I think you said you make it go through 4 prompts. Are those like the 4 separate Q&A assistant, next action, script drop off and conversation here, or are there multiple prompts in each node?
Yeah, so there's unique prompts in every single node that you see here.
Gotcha.
So
and the Q&A assistant is like one prompt, the next action is a different prompt, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I understand. All right, because I heard you say there's 4 prompts. I didn't know if there's like 4 prompts in the Q&A assistant, but that makes a lot more sense now.
No, so Q&A assistant is really, the output is in JSON, so it's looking at what are the questions it couldn't answer, and then how many questions could it not answer, and both of those get output to Google Sheets.
Cool. Appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'd say like with each of these, specifically, let's say next action, script drop-off, location, conversion tier, they're all enum values. And why that's important is because when you're building dashboards like this, if you just have regular text output, you're not going to be able to look at all of the different, is it value prop? Is it intro? You'll just have a bunch of random data that you can't really make sense of. And so by creating buckets that it needs to go into one of those specific buckets, you can make more powerful data decisions.
Yeah, and if I understand this correctly, obviously different industries, different businesses have different scripts and maybe different flows to the script, meaning you need to really sit there and kind of handhold the client early on to make sure you understand exactly the script, the flow, and then you can just chunk up the script into different buckets where you are then writing it in, right? Because like it doesn't seem like it's a blanket approach for everyone.
Yeah. So it'll change slightly, but I would say for the most part, I tried to make things that are uniform across the board for outbound lead gen campaigns.
Cool.
And that way the system itself also becomes more scalable as we onboard more clients.
Cool. And you said you're using this for outbound or for inbound?
For outbound.
Interesting. Very interesting. And what niches is it that you're seeing a lot of results or good successes in for outbound?
For outbound, there's
Yeah.
anyone running Facebook ads, honestly, like real estate, a lot of marketing agencies. Another big niche too is, but this is inbound, is dental practices.
Hmm.
Any contractors too, running either outbound or inbound, because
Fair.
contractors usually have smaller teams.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. So B2B outbound where you can get their business listing, etc. Cool. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, nice.
I saw there are some questions in the in-call messages. How many percentage of the calls are accepted?
So you could, what do you mean by that in terms of accepted?
Maybe it's connected. How many people pick? How many percentage of the calls are picked up?
Right now, around 57% for the last week.
And is that, sorry, that was my question. You said that you try making the call 6 times. So is that the average of, however many times it takes to actually get a caller?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can see here, the average time is called. This is typically 2.5 times before someone answers the call.
Okay. And then the GPT analysis that you do, once you kind of go through that analysis, what is the improvement you see based on that feedback loop that you're able to provide?
A big one is definitely the Q&A assistant, because especially when you're using it for larger campaigns like this, having to manually go through all of the call recordings just isn't feasible, especially for something that's placing up to 6 calls and is logging every single call regardless of if it's answered or not. And so I would say the next level up from this and what we're working on is now using MCP, connecting MCP to Google Sheets. So on a daily basis, AI is analyzing these, let's say, the Q&As that weren't answered, and providing reports that are fully automated, that can then be provided to your team to improve. So the processing time would be faster.
Okay.
Okay. What's the differences between total calls and prospects called?
So this is total calls is the amount of calls that AI placed, and prospects called is the unique prospects in these total calls. So there were 610 prospects, but we called them, over 2,000 times. And out of those 2,000, 345 had a conversation.
Is it possible to set business hours in Retell?
Yeah, definitely. What do you mean by that, though? In terms of the hours that the AI will be calling?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I would say it's probably easier to do it in high level in the automated sequence right here. So you can see, if you click on settings right here, you have the ability to specify when you want this automation to run. So you can just choose contact time zone and then make it from, let's say, 9 to 5. And now this automation will only run from 9 to 5. And whatever step it's on, it'll pause until the next business day resumes.
Hey, Kevin.
Yep. How you doing?
You mentioned that when there's a lot of tool calling, the AI tends to hallucinate. Do you have more or less like a sweet spot on what amount of tool calling is the one that's kind of like in a safe threshold?
It just depends on your use case. Like if you're going to be building, for instance, for dental receptionists, we specifically use conversational flow because we want the tool calls to be reliable. And also there's a lot of different tools that a receptionist needs. She needs to check availability, book appointments, cancel, reschedule, confirm. So if you just put that into a single prompt, chances are the AI is going to potentially trigger the wrong tool call, versus it'll be in a specific state, and that state is only to reschedule.
Interesting. Yeah, because like that's actually my my use case. So I have an inbound appointment setter for a health clinic, and what I've noticed is that I struggle, like the AI will start to hallucinate, like offering availabilities that aren't really there. And at the beginning, I thought I just fed up, like I just like dumped like a lot of availabilities, like 100 or so, an array with 100 or so availabilities. So I thought it was that, but then I shrink it down to 20. But then in calls where there's a lot of back and forth, which, you know, like the customer would say, oh no, can you do this Friday, or can you do a month from now? And those are the ones that start hallucinating. So what you said is, and I'm doing single prompts. So your advisor would be to just migrate to conversation flow, and it'll probably not hallucinate as much.
Yeah, so I would say we're using multi-state for dentists. You have your global state prompt. That's where you want to really set what's the identity, what are the core principles, you know, what is the practice information, kind of the global rules for the agents. And then if I just share, this is what our dental one looks like. So we have a welcome state, and then it's either an existing client where it'll go to new appointment, or they're a new patient. And then we have, you know, appointment confirmation, cancellation, and rescheduling. And then in the background, we have 12 workflows in N8N that are connected via API. And for the most part, they're all one-shot automations, just like this. They're super simple. We try to make it as simple as possible, because simple scales.
Totally. And then the data flow that you just showed, is that the conversation flow? Like I'm only familiar with the single prompt.
So you have three options. This is multi-state. Then you have single prompt, which is just this. And then you also have conversation flow, which is more of like a drag and drop builder, similar to this, just with more functionality and, in my opinion, easier to use.
Okay, so your recommendation is the multi-state, that this one on the screen right now, then.
Yes, this is a multi-state. Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks a
And
lot.
every
Yep.
single state is specific to one action or one tool call.
Okay. Amazing. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
What was the booking rate before this speed to lead system?
What was the booking rate by their team before they implemented the system?
Correct.
That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I know, like, I've been working with them for close to 4 months now, and they're really liking the results. And I think, if anything, it just allows their team to, especially now with the new system prompt that we're using, it's really there to extract the information. And like, before their sales rep even gets on a call, they know a lot about the client. What are their issues? What are their what are their pain points? And how can their company provide the best solution for what they're going through right now?
Do you have problem with phone numbers getting marked as spam due to calling prospects so much?
So we actually cycle our numbers. So we have multiple numbers. If I go back to this automation up here, you can see we have Google Sheets. So we have a list of numbers, and then we use an array aggregator. So it pulls in all of those numbers, and then we just assign them randomly. So it cycles through that. And then in Twilio, there's actually 4 steps that you can take to really improve the overall performance of not being marked as spam. So you set up like a business profile, then there's CNAM registration, which is caller ID registration. There's shake and stir. There's like brand integrity, and I think one other. But most of these are in like the brand trust center, and a lot of them are just one click in order to implement, and they take some time to get approved. But this way you get registered with all of the major carriers, and it improves the probability that you're not marked as spam.
Does that mean you're using SIP trunking for most of your stuff?
Yes.
I have another question here, I guess. More just curiosity. What's your go-to voice, and what's your go-to LLM for your models?
I like
your
4.
agents?
I like 4.1 or Gemini Flash, and the voice I really like Chimo, CIMO,
Okay, I've used Trim a bunch.
Grace, or Emily.
All the standards.
Yes.
What's the rough cost range of building such system for a client? There's a message within the channel.
Yes, I mean, so for this system, we charge the client $3K to implement, and then 1,000 recurring to maintain and make changes and test new prompts and add additional functionality to the agent over time.
Yeah, so Kevin is a good diamond partner. So everyone, if want to implement a similar system, feel free to DM Kevin. You can post your information after this meeting.
Cool. Yeah, I would just say join our school. There's a ton of free resources in our school right now. This is it. It's called No Code Nation. So happy to see you guys in there and seeing what you contribute, and hopefully this brought some value to everyone here today.
Is there a reason you use both make.com and NAN versus just using a single platform?
So Make has a lot more native integrations, so it's a lot easier for beginners, and it's also a lot faster if you know what you're doing, because you don't have to manually do all of the HTTP requests. But N8N, you can self-host, so it's more scalable, in my opinion. You don't get charged unlimited. You don't get charged based on operations. You just get charged based on server usage. And there's some additional nodes like the code node that Make does not have. So you can see here, this is from Zero Code Kit, which is how you can send JavaScript and Python code. One of the things that LLMs are not really good at is time conversions. And based on, like, for instance, in Go High Level, in order to check availability, that's one specific kind of time. It's like Unix milliseconds, but to book appointments, it's in ISO format. And so for the LLM, even if you provide it with specific steps to follow, it still won't be as reliable as just using JavaScript and just coding it. And I'm just using Claude, or I'm using ChatGPT and telling it what I want, and it creates the code for me, and then I just test until it works.
What type of the client is this?
What type of client is this specifically? So that they run a SaaS company that is a marketplace for real estate agents to connect with buyers and sellers. And so they run ads to both wholesalers, they run ads to people looking to sell their home, and then they use their platform almost as an arbitrage-based lead acquisition system where a business, a wholesaler won't have to go and run ads themselves. They can just browse and choose hot leads in their area.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all the questions. Do you guys integrate with Public? I haven't heard of this software.
I had a quick question, guys.
Yep, go for it.
Awesome. I don't know if you guys have worked with Jane directly, because there's a lot of, when it comes to the medical health industry, there's a lot of demand for receptionists and all of that stuff, appointment booking. But when it comes to integrating with systems such as Power Diary, Jane, you go to Retell and it says that there is a custom integration for that. But I mean, if you go to Jane itself, the website says that they don't provide any public APIs. But I do know that people have sort of been able to hook up their systems and make it a seamless experience. Do you have any intel on how that happens? Like, how do you go about that?
Uh, for Jane app, right?
Yep.
Uh, we are in the process of trying to have some deeper collaboration with them, but currently I'm not sure. I believe there is some customer. So if you go to our website and go to the Jane app integration, so you will find some sort of a partner who is familiar with the app. So my suggestion is just ask the specific service partner how they book appointment with them, how they schedule, how
That
they.
was thank you for that, because recently I was able to book a meeting, and it was done through Retell itself.
Mm,
And I won't name the person right here, but if you want, I can shoot you a DM. And this
mm,
was exactly what the call was based on. So I got in touch with them. They told me they were the solutions engineer. And the moment I asked them about a Jane integration, it was sort of as if they were gatekeeping that. Not sort of, it was pretty blatant gatekeeping, because I asked them, okay, what do you do? He said, that's for your agency to find out. My agency has figured that out, but it's not something that I'm going to share with you because it takes away the competitive edge. Now, I understand if, if that person were to do that outside Retell with me, but if they're going on and, joining on behalf of Retell in the meeting, having that meeting with me, and they have the title of the solutions engineer, then I believe that that's not an appropriate statement to make in those circumstances.
So I will say I can't speak to Jane specifically, but with regards to the dental industry, we use NexHealth. And the reason we use NexHealth is that they are kind of an umbrella that'll integrate with a ton of other dental CRMs that might not have that functionality or those integrations that you require. So I don't know if it's the case with Jane, but maybe there's an overarching like healthcare API tool that will integrate with Jane and provide them with additional functionality.
Interesting. So if there's like if there's a practice that's using Jane directly, right? We can still go on and make that integration happen via NexHealth, right? Or is there going to be some sort of hiccup where they will also have to get involved and shift their current systems?
So in the case of NexHealth, like one of the dental practices we work with, they use Curve Dental, and Curve Dental has super basic API documentation. Like it can't create bookings, and so NexHealth has additional functionality, additional API endpoints that will integrate with Curve Dental and with a bunch of other dental practices. They've kind of made a standardized list of API endpoints that'll integrate with a ton of different dentist softwares. So maybe there is something similar for Jane.
Awesome. Love it, man. Thank you.
No worries.
Hey Kevin, for the dental example, are you also, is your agency also targeting, I guess, dental like dentists?
So we do work with a bunch of dentists right now, but I wouldn't say we explicitly target dentists. Honestly, we work with a ton of different industries, so we've been exposed to a lot, and we're currently in the process of niching down, and it will be in the lead generation space because I think it's a really promising field, and AI is only going to get better. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen to this industry as a whole.
Yeah, no, totally. I guess the reason I'm asking is simple kind of said before, there I guess there are some agencies that are going towards like the white label kind of a thing. But I guess the reason I'm asking is if you work with, dentists, is that normally are dentists and like health clinics and those sort of industries, are they more kind of like a done for you kind of an approach, or do you see them also doing like a do it yourself? Because the do it yourself is more like, hey, here's a white label, I'll connect, I'll use Retell on the back end, and I'll set it up for you, but you do your own kind of like self-improvement and analysis, and I'll just provide the service? Or is the dental industry and healthcare industry more like, hey, I'll take care of everything for you, I'll just send you the analytics, if you want me to change something in the process, let me know and I will change it? Like, which is the more or less like the vibe that industry is going for in your experience?
Good question. In my experience, they're definitely more after the done for you. And I would say we've done both models, and we are sticking to the done for you model as opposed to the white label self-serve, because they just don't have the expertise. Like, I'm not bringing my car to the mechanic so that I can change the tires myself, right? And I think it's the same thing with voice AI. It seems simple, but to build things that are really robust and really good and can actually help a business, you need to know what you're doing, and you need to know how to make connections and how to prompt properly, and those things take time.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, and that's kind of like where what I think that it might be heading. But then, I guess what would you say is like an industry standard price point for that service? Just because if you're taking on like a lot of, if most of your customers are kind of like a done for you, kind of like a white glove kind of a thing, you have to be charging enough for it to actually justify the bandwidth that you're putting it out there, right? So what's the usual like price point and minutes package that you see out there?
So we don't even rebill our minutes. We just bill them cost on minutes, because it's simpler, and we'll just charge them a monthly retainer instead. And it really is hard to give an exact price because there's so many different factors involved. Like, what's the functionality? Are they doing round robin calendar? Are they connected to one calendar? What additional functionality do they require? So I would say a simple way is like, if you know more or less how many hours that project's going to take you, and like what you want to charge as as a hourly rate, then you can figure out what your raw costs are from a labor perspective, and then you can just add a premium on top.
Oh, okay. So in that case, you're basing off of like an estimate of how many hours is that particular customer going to use up of your bandwidth, and just like add a cost and a premium to it, and that's the way you roll. You don't really like charge them any differently if they use like, I don't know, 500 minutes versus 700 minutes this month. Did I get that correctly?
Correct, because we just bill them cost on the minutes. So they can go with another provider and they'll get, I don't know, 400 minutes included at 30 cents a minute, or they can work with us and it's just 12 cents a minute.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So then you just tell them, hey, this is this many cost per minute, just like that, and then you just bill them whatever minutes they consume then. Okay. Cool. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, thank you for Kevin. Thank you for Kevin working through the whole case study with us. And I'll spend the remaining 15 minutes to walk through the new features that we launched. Let me share the screen. Yeah, feel free to leave your contact information, Kevin. Yeah. And the first feature we launched is for these two weeks is chat widget. So we have add one chat widget. So simply create a Retell chat agent, and you can embed this chat agent into your website. Whether it is a Webflow, Wix, or your code-based website, you can simply create. I'll walk through a process with you. Let me see, can you see my screen? So navigate to create an agent. Here is a chat agent, so click the chat agent, and you can create whatever agent you want. This is one creating method. And another one is if you want to keep the same script as your voice agent, you can convert your voice agent into a chat agent. So click the 3 dot in the right corner and convert to the chat agent.
Is that reversible? Because it's probably better if people duplicate and then convert, right? But is that reversible
Yeah,
if
yeah,
someone does it by accident?
So when you convert, the former voice agent is remained, and you just
As-
create a new chat agent.
Okay, perfect.
And then you can, based on your chat scenario, to change something. For example, you can remove. Let me see. This one is voice. So you need to go back to the menu and find the agent that you create. Yeah, this one is chat agent. And then you can change some functions over here and change some chat settings. For example, it will automatically close the chat within 24 hours. You can change the timeout into a shorter time. And simply navigate to the documentation. Search the chat widget, and you can copy paste the script over here. And there are some items need to replace, such as you have to create a public key. Public key is in the keys tab over here. So you need to create a public key and to set up the allowed domain. For example, your website or the staging environment of your website. And then copy paste the key value into here and your agent ID over here. If you are using agent versions, so the agent versions, let me see. The agent versions, normally you can find it over here. So click the history tab and you can see if you didn't publish anything, so it will be current. If in that case, you will be removing these sections. So if you don't have published any versions, you just remove this one.
And if you leave that out and you have versions, it'll use the most recent version, correct?
If you leave that line, you have to replace this one into a 0, otherwise it won't take effect. And also there are some customizable, for example, your custom title. So this one will be showed in the chat widget. Let me quickly show here. So after adding the script, you can see the chat widget over here. And some of them are customizable. For example, this title is customizable. And the branded color is also customizable. And we will be rolling out today. And you can just talk to him. And here is the icon. Icon here is also customizable. You have to post your image into a public URL, and you copy the public URL and replace it.
Can you show us where that is? Because I was looking at that earlier.
Oh, yes, this will be rolled out today. So I haven't updated the documentation yet, but we received several feedback regarding people like the chat widget feature. And so we added more customizable into the chat widget. And chat widget is a big feature, and public keys, another feature, is just for the chat widget. And the third feature is custom function enhancement. So we have added more capability when you add a custom function. You can not only post, but also make, get, post, put, patch, and delete requests. And also you can add custom headers and query parameters.
So grateful for that.
Yeah. And also we've updated the high priority feature. So formerly it is hidden in within the gear setting, and now we exposed to it. So fast tier, you can get more predictable latency and uncapped scalability and higher reliability, but it will be also have a higher cost. Current the pricing is 1.5x of the current model cost. So, but we've seen some enterprise customers, they are very willing to pay for additional cost to exchange for a more stable service. And yeah, and there is another improvement, which is outbound, improved outbound diagnosis. So we have exposed more destination reasons for outbound, such as invalid destination, telephony provider permission denied. So if your SIP trunking is set up incorrect, you can get you can see the disconnection reason. And telephony provider unavailable, SIP trunking, SIP routing error, marked as spam, and user declined. And the effective date is the end of June. So make sure your API setup is correct. And we've also added a medical transcription mode. So it's under the right panel of the transcription setting. There are also some other improvements, such as custom function. Formerly is limited to 8K characters, currently increased to 15K characters. So some of the users are using the custom functions regarding, for example, include the summary of the former calls so that it can have the memory of the former calls. And also LM prompt token limit has increased. And for importing custom telephony numbers, we removed the limit of E.164 format. And call history tab, we have included 2 more fields, such as agent ID and versions, so that you can use these 2 fields for customizable your further analytics. And for voicemail, formerly you can only write static message. Right now you can write a prompt for voicemail message. And we added a few new language, Dutch, Catalan, and Thai. Yeah, that's all. Any more questions?
Are you guys considering adding servers to different parts of the world? I've got a client in France that is leaning towards a different platform, which I think that Retell is more superior from a functionality point of view, but the latency is much higher for them. Are there any plans, obviously not tomorrow, but like sometime in the future, to add servers in different parts of the world?
Or I would say probably we will only consider it after all the main features have been done, because we are pushing out more features. So we will not thinking about expanding for the short term. Okay, any more feature requests? If not, let's call it a day. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks. Evie, if you can just respond back to my Discord and then we'll continue there, but that'd be amazing.
Okay. Can you ping
It's Tonic in.
Okay.
Yeah, I just sent it to you not too long ago, so I'm Tonic.
Got it. Thank you everyone. See you next week. Bye bye.